G'day guys, welcome back. A lot of people are still struggling with varnishing their canvases. Not that you have to, there's no reason why you have to varnish a canvas. This one, I'm going to varnish it for you because it's got some gold in it. And I think if you're going to varnish something, pick something that's got some pretty gold in it, because it'll really make it pop. Just trying to pick up the shine. Not having much luck. Oh, there we go. Shiny. Now, I haven't wiped this, to get any silicone off it. It's just as is. You can see where the balloon dips were. It's kind of made a little bit of a indentation. But it should be just fine once the varnish goes over it. So that's it there. That was reds and gold and black. Now this is what I'm going to use. This is my favorite thing to use for varnishing. Liquitex High Gloss Varnish. Don't shake it. You're just going to get bubbles. So what I do is I'm probably just going to do one coat. I think one is ample. I don't water it down with anything. As you can see, it's pretty runny. It's going to splash it around. Make sure you've got a good covering there. And what I'm going to do is start tilting it around. So it's really, really thin, so you really don't want to add any water to it, in my opinion. I'm just trying to get it so that it's going to cover without losing too much of it. Now, you can use a spatula if you want to. No reason why you can't. I guess you get a little bit more wastage when you just do it like this. If you had a spatula like this one, you could just do this. Saves a little bit on wastage. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to cover the whole surface first. So feel free to spread it out like this. Doesn't matter if you haven't got it exactly even, because we're going to tilt it in a minute and smooth it all out. So just make sure that you've got a good coverage. Everything's covered. Haven't missed any bits. Don't worry about the sides for now. It's just this main top section that you're worrying about first. Okay, so now what we do is we just pick it up. So basically, we want to cover that whole side, let it run over the edge. You can use your gloved fingers just to smooth the edge like that, make sure it's all covered. And then do the other side. So I'm just going to turn it around so it's facing you. So this is, I guess, the most important part now, tipping it the opposite way, because we want to make sure that we're getting most of the varnish off the surface. So keep tilting, keep tilting, keep tilting until it's pretty much all run off. The other side, you can see where there's maybe a few little areas that have been missed. Keep tilting until that's all run over the edge. You can wipe the side there as well. Wipe the drips up from underneath the canvas as it's tilting like that. If you see any drips, just wipe them with your gloved fingers, because it does dry quite hard and sticky. So just let it run pretty much off. If you leave too much on here, it's going to crack. So just keep tilting until it's all run off. And now, where's my cloth? I don't have a cloth. Wipe my hands. That's when I wipe my hands before I pick up my torch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blowtorch to pop the bubbles. Because it was very bubbly, even though I didn't shake it, it's still bubbly, and you need to pop all these bubbles if you want to have a beautiful smooth finish. Now I can see a couple of little areas where I've missed. Actually, it's probably where the silicone was as well. That's okay. I'll probably go over this and do a second coat just to fill in those little gaps that I've missed, you know, where the silicone was. I personally don't wipe it off. If there's a huge amount of silicone, I'll wipe it off, but otherwise I just leave it. I can actually see now that I'm looking at it where the silicone was. So I'd say this is going to need 2 coats. You can try and get all your silicone off if you want to. It's a little bit tricky, and you may find that some of your paint is washed off, so I would prefer to do 2 coats. So it's a little bit uneven there. I'll see if I can bring this up and show you. Now that it's got its first coat, you can actually see the little divots of where the silicone was. Let's see how I can hold it. So it's got this sort of chalky look to it. That's the varnish. So it's not totally clear until it dries. Okay, can you see those little tiny little pits and things, little areas there? It's more noticeable just there on the left hand side where the bubbles have popped, and you can see those little pits. Where else can I show you? Little areas where it hasn't stuck to the silicone, but it has got a very thin coat over it. So when I do my second coat, and I can do another coat tomorrow, when I do my second coat, that will all get filled in. So I'll just leave it like that for now. As you saw, it's a very, very thin watery liquid. You don't need a lot to cover your surface. So yeah, I'll come back tomorrow and do another coat, and then it should be all good. I can already see that the gold's really, really shimmering there nicely. Should look good once it's dry. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay guys, so it's the next day, and this varnish first coat has dried really, really lovely, and it's really brought this bright red up, and the Dioxazine purple, like it's really showing up nicely now. You can see that shine on it. So I'm going to do the second coat today. It's not as thick a coat as just straight Liquitex pouring medium. Sometimes I use that, and I find I only need to have 1 coat when I do the Liquitex pouring medium because it's so thick. So I've got another pour that I'll test out that one with shortly, and I can show you the difference. Just make sure that's in frame. There we go, push it over a little bit. Okay, that'll do. Righto, so second coat, time, and again, don't shake your bottle. Liquitex High Gloss Varnish. Just pour it on. Make sure that everything's nice and clean. You don't have any dust on it. So it's really, really thin, this stuff, so you don't need to have a lot. And as I always do, I just like to spread it out first and make sure that everything's covered, and then I tilt it just to make sure that it's all, I'm just leaving the same amount on the surface. I find if I tilt it that way, I do get good results because it's, you know, pouring the leftovers off. It only keeps on there the amount that it needs. And this time I'm going to pop the bubbles before I start tilting. So just that little bit of moving around has brought up some bubbles. Really can't be helped. But I'll torch them and then I'll tilt. Now that's only flaming because this is a new can of butane. You just have to be careful when you're using these big blow torches that can happen. There it goes again. Just got to try not to move them too fast or to shake them because that's what will make them flame up. So just use them gently. Don't shake them. Move them slowly up and down. Okay, I think that's popped all the bubbles. Now let's do some tilting. There's a little bit just there that needs a little splash more. Must have missed that area. And you can see where my balloon dips were, where the paint's been a little bit indented. It's holding a little bit more of the gloss varnish because it's made a bit of a dip there. So if there's any little areas that you see that aren't quite filling, you can just go over them again. And if you've got a light shining on it, you can actually see when you're looking down the surface of it, you can see what if there's any areas that you've missed. And if there are, you can just pop a little bit of varnish back again. Oops, there's a bubble. Go away. And just run your hand along the bottom there to smooth that off. And I'm just going to pick up these leftovers here and run my hand down the side, just with those leftover little bits there. Same on this side. Actually, I might turn it around. And I can just use those little leftovers. Don't want to waste any of it. It's quite expensive. Well, it is here in Australia anyway, as is all Liquitex products. They tend to be expensive. Now I'm just tilting the other way as well. Make sure you catch your drips underneath, otherwise they'll dry hard like that. Like little stalactites hanging onto the underside of your canvas. All right, that's got it covered. It looks as if it's going to need another coating. I can still see a few little areas that need a little bit more, which is why I prefer, I know I said I like this, and I do, but I don't like how you have to do multiple coats because it's so thin. I guess if you're having trouble with varnishing, cracking, you're better off having a product like this that's going to go on really thin. Now, can you see over at the bottom here, you can see those areas where the pouring medium, not the pouring medium, the gloss medium is actually still making its way down. See that? So it was relatively thick up here because it's still dripping down. So if you're still getting that, then you've got too much on your surface. It needs to not run anymore, and then you know that you can stop. If it's still running like that, you've got too much on and you need to keep tilting it. Otherwise it may puddle and crack. So tip it on, smooth it over, tilt one way, turn it round, tilt the other way. Make sure that nothing is still running off. And then you should be fine. Okay, so that's a good covering there. And I'll see how it looks tomorrow. Well, actually not tomorrow. I've got a workshop tomorrow. I'll check it tonight. It's looking really, really pretty though, isn't it? Gorgeous. All right, so I may do another coating just to bring it up, make it nice and thick. And then I'll show you just plain Liquitex pouring medium. I'll do another pour using that product, and you can see the difference. It's much thicker and it'll only need one coat. All right, I'll see you next time for probably the third coat on this one. Alrighty guys, day 3, and I'm going to do another coat. If I can get my gloves unstuck. Look, it's like I've got webbing. So I'm using the same gloves, but no, they're stuck together. I'm just going to have to be like a bit of a Star Trek dude today. Can't get them apart. Okay, it feels really weird. Now this is dry. It's had its 2 coats. Lovely and shiny. Oh, to tell you the truth, it's a bit of a pain having to do 3 coats. I don't know that I'd use it again. I much prefer, I know I said I like this, and I do, but 3 coats is just a pain. But if you are having trouble with your varnish cracking, then you know it's probably a good option for you. I'm still trying to pull my gloves apart. Oh, there we go. I did it. Yay! Right. Again, Liquitex high gloss varnish. Don't shake it. You don't want bubbles. Just give it a nice light going over with a clean cloth once it's dry, and before you do your next coating, just in case there's any dust that's happened to fall on it overnight. I'm only going to do 3 coats. This will be it. It's a bit too time consuming for me. And you can see how liquid that is. Look at it. It's like water. It really is. Whereas the Liquitex pouring medium, it's just a pouring medium, but it works really, really well for a gloss. And I'll show you. I'll do a video on that shortly. Okay, so really bubbly again with my torch. Let's pop all these bubbles before we start moving the varnish around. If you leave the bubbles in there and then you tilt, the bubbles will still be there, and then you get a really nice smooth finish, but it's got bubbles in it, so then you pop them and then you've got these little pits and you can't really move it around again. Just filling in any little areas that have been missed. And again, let's tilt. See, there's a bubble there now. I have to get that gone. Okay. And you can can see where the varnish is because it's a bit cloudy looking. I've got much more on the one side than the other, so I'm just moving it down a bit. You can see if there's any areas that haven't been covered, so you can just give them a little bit of a helping hand. Doesn't matter if you touch it. In doing that, it creates more bubbles. Because this is my third coat, my third and final coat, I don't want any residual bubbles on it. So let's just tip over the edge. Let everything run across, tip over the edge, and then wipe the edge with your gloved fingers. Make sure that your edges are done, like so. And then when I turn it around, always turn it around and do the other side as well. Tilt the opposite way. Run your finger under there like that to catch those little drips. Use the excess on the side so nothing's wasted. There's a couple of little areas there that aren't covered. It's a bit fiddly, I guess, because it is such a thin varnish. Pick some up from there. I can just see a little area that's not covered. Probably where there's a little bit of a dip from my balloon when I've hit the balloon into the paint there, so it's a little bit lower. Okay, now as I've got it on an angle like this, I can see the shine across the surface, and I can actually see that there are no more little areas apart from way down here. You can probably see them. No more areas that are left uncovered. So I'll just let that paint run down. You can see, hopefully you can see there's some little streams of varnish that are still running down there. Make sure that they all join up so that you've got one smooth coat. Run your finger underneath so that edge is covered. Make sure you don't leave any puddles. Let it all run down. You only want to leave a thin coating on the surface. Again, you can see if there's any little areas that have been missed as you're looking down, because it's glossy. And that is done. Now I'm just going to bring that, because I've got all the varnish just down here, I'm just going to take it into the middle. And then we will be done. I just don't like leaving it all on the very edge there. Okay, that's it. 3 coats done. Wipe your hand underneath. Catch the drips. Now I'll have to come back tomorrow, day 4, and show you the final product. Oh yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but hey, look, if you've got the time and you want a guaranteed finish that's not going to crack, then by all means use this. And yeah, it's nice and thin. No problems with having it too thick and cracking. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, everybody, so this is the finished product. Beautiful and dry, nice and shiny. I'm just aiming it at the window over there so that you can see the shininess of it. And the cells have really popped. Let's take you in here, see if I can get a close-up. Cells have come up beautifully. The red's nice and shiny, bright. I don't know that you can see the gold there. Maybe. It's really tough to pick up gold, metallic sometimes in paintings. But that's it there. If you look down the side of it there, it's really nice and smooth and shiny, no cracks, no pitting, all beautiful. So there we go, that's it. So if you're having trouble with varnish, certainly have a go at the Liquitex gloss varnish. Because it is a thin mix, you can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to have pooling and cracking, but it's just a bit of a pain to have to do, you know, 3 or 4 coats, but it's well worth the end result. So there you go. Thanks for watching. I will be doing another painting. I'm going to varnish it with just Liquitex pouring medium so that I only have to do 1 coat, and we'll see how that goes. I know it's a pouring medium, but it does have a beautiful shine to it when it's dry, and it's thick. So as I said, I'll only need to do 1 coat, so we'll see how that goes. I'll be doing that one shortly. Righto, thanks for watching. Bye for now.